Namaskar. We welcome you all to Heritage and Indica's Iswara to Swara classes. I'm specifying the word class because this is going to be like a class, even though it's a webinar, because there are too many people, we can't have a complete Zoom. And if you have questions, you can raise your hand, and at the end, it will be answered. And you will also be asked questions which you can answer in the chat box. So I would want to tell you very shortly, after we do a small invocation prayer, you can all join. Agajanana Padmarkam Gajanana Maharnisham Anekadantam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Ya Devi Stuyate Nityam Vibhudairveda Paragaihi Same Vasatu Jihvagre Brahma Rupa Saraswati Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Okay, I think everybody here knows about Guriya Samrama because most of you are people who have participated in some way, shape or form with Guriya Samrama. Our upcoming Guriya Samrama for 2026, the theme is going to be Swara Loka, the thread of reality from Iswara to Swara. We felt that just doing one activity in the year is not enough, and that each one of us who participates should become a better version of ourselves. So with that in mind, and we also wanted you all to understand the topic to its depth. So we requested Dr. Guha to explain this through the Ramayana so that we also learn the Ramayana and the values that are embedded in the Ramayana. We will also use a lot of Samskrita terms, so we get more and more accustomed to Samskrita. I will now allow Varsha to introduce Dr. Guha for those of you who didn't attend the talk in the morning, so you get to know him. So over to you, Varsha.
Namaskaram. I'm pleased to introduce our guest speaker for today, Dr. M.V. Vishwanath Guha. Dr. Guha is a renowned scholar in Sanskrit and Indic knowledge systems. He holds 3 master's degrees and a PhD from Banaras Hindu University, with research spanning Sanskrit Sahitya Shastra, Valmiki Ramayana, Artha Shastra, Jyotisha, and Sankhya Darshana. He currently serves as a guest faculty at Government Maharaja Sanskrit College in Mysore and an adjunct professor at IIT Hyderabad. He also works as a consultant at Yoga Vijnana in Bangalore, and he is the chief astrological consultant for Vivek. Additionally, he is affiliated with Nirakula Yoga, Swabha Foundation, and Just Yoga in Shanghai. Dr. Vishwanath teaches various subjects, including Upanishads, Vyakarana, and Jyotisha, both online and offline. He has presented at conferences, published research papers, and shares lectures on his YouTube channel, Guru Guha Lahiri. With that brief intro, I warmly welcome Dr. Guha, and the session is over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste, everyone. It's a pleasure to be amongst people who are not only mere appreciators of Bharatiya Samskriti, but also more than flag bearers, I would say, those who are very much dedicated in promoting the Bharatiya Samskriti. Interestingly, the journey that we are going to cover, a brief outline of why, what, and how all these 3 questions have to be answered, because Ishwara to Swara is not a one-way road, it's a 2-way road. First and foremost, I wanted to clarify that. See, without the proper understanding or the witnessing of Ishvara, after having gone through several words, what is the best suitable word to describe Atma Darshana? Okay. Darshana means seeing. So seeing of Atma. If I say that seeing of Atma, seeing of Ishvara, then it will have many implications. Ishvara Darshana or Devata Darshana. So we use the word Darshana quite frequently in many aspects. And most of the times, the circumstances in which we use the word Darshana actually does not make any justice to the actual word and its meaning, especially the intensity, the essence of the meaning of the word Darshana. The word Darshana carries a lot of power. It carries a lot of weightage. So it has to be used in a certain manner where it reflects. Every time I use the word Darshana, it should reflect something. And you may be thinking that why am I deliberating on the word Darshana, even though the word is, the popular, the keywords involved are Gudiya Sambrama, Ishwara to Swara, and all these things are Ramayana. These are the keywords that we have to focus. But why are we discussing about Darshana? See, when we say Gudi, it's a peculiarly Kannada Shabda, Kannada word. It is a representative of Devalaya. Like how the word Devalaya cannot be replicated, cannot be translated into English. If at all it has to be literally translated, then the right translation for the word Devalaya would be God's abode. That's how it should be translated, word to word translation. But that's not how we address Devalaya, isn't it? We address Devalaya as temple because it's easy and we have made it easy. Now, the first job that we have is because we are going to be part of something, or we are already part of something phenomenal that has come all these years, and it is going to only further grow and prosper. So when we are a part of such lineage, such a parampara, we should it's better to alter any mistakes that we have committed or we may commit in as soon as possible. So it's like, otherwise what will happen is makhi ka makhi ho jayega. And then somebody was writing practicing some tables, like 2 into 2 4, 2 into 3 6, this kind of table. And unfortunately, from which book they were practicing, there was a mosquito that had already died on that paper. Now, the fellow thought that they were very strict with their following. So they thought that if in the original book, if the Makhi has died, then he worked an entire day just to catch hold of that Makhi. Okay. And then he not only killed it, he pasted it exactly at the same spot and continued. That must not become our fate. That is the fate that we have been blessed with, unfortunately, in so many things. That's why there is an immediate need for all of us to correct our course. If we are following a certain path, we need to see what is the intention. If we are calling it as Gudi, what is the original word for Gudi in Sanskrita? One might argue that why always we have to refer to Sanskrita? Not because it is Deva Bhasha, not because it is the oldest language, not because of all the different reasons that we talk or that we have heard about Samskrita. The very meaning of the word Samskrita Bhasha is the language that is well refined is called as Samskrita. Samyak Kritam Samskritam. The very word Samskrita means refined. It is refined in such a way that there is no room for further refinement left. It is the best version that you can get for expression. So we have various ways of expressing the meaning that we experience, or let us not even use the word meaning. Whatever we experience, there are several ways of expressing it. That is what bhasha is. Bhashra vyaktayam vachi. And the best way to express it is through speech. And if I am going to express something that I have experienced through speech, don't you think my expression should be refined? Is there anything wrong if I make my presentation more refined? Nothing. That's why, you know, what is the difference between the modern day cooking people in the sense, you know, those who are enthusiastic about cooking, and our grandmothers? I'll tell you the difference. The modern day Instagram heroes or influencers, sorry, okay, the influencers, the foodie influencers, the food influencers, or I think also the food entrepreneurs. They have a new term coined for them, some marrying both the words. You got the idea, the crowd that I'm talking about. Taste wise, we simply exaggerate that it was fabulous and all. No disrespect to anybody. But we all have tasted that Anna Rasam. Forget about Anna. We have all tasted that Rasam made by our grandmother, isn't it? You tell me honestly, was it not better than all the modern day influencers, food influencers and food entrepreneurs? It was. It definitely is. We all know deep down, we know that whatever our mothers and our grandmothers used to prepare, that was top notch. Then where is it that we in the sense, you know, the world is drawn towards the modern day thing? Presentation. You see, the way they present makes it more attractive. It's not like our grandmothers did not know how to present it, but it worked during that era. Now it needs to be presented in such a way. It has to be refined. So when the presentation gets more and more refined, it stays for a very long time. The presentation of various things have changed, but the presentation of uppinkai has not changed. The pickle has not changed its position. It has held its position. It's hard work to prepare it. Its presentation never changes. It never changes, and it still carries its value. So similarly, if we have to present some of the experiences that we have had, then it has to be expressed in a refined manner. And the medium which is refined in its manner, in its approach, is called as Samskrita. The reason why we should proudly subscribe to Samskrita as bhasha, as a medium of communication, is because it is refined. Obviously, deep down, we all want our presentations to be more refined, more interesting, more appealing. So if it has to be more appealing, more interesting, and more presentable, and at the same time, chirasthayi, it has to remain forever. How many years has it been since the world saw Ramayana? That's a historic question. We are not going to get into the debate how old Ramayana is. One thing is sure, that it is definitely old, isn't it? It is beyond doubt that it is old. Now, when we understand how it, when we try to understand why it has survived this long, because of its refined nature, because it was presented in Samskrita way, and also Samskrita bhasha. The bhasha means the medium of speech, the way to communicate. That should be Samskrita, and the content should also be Samskrita. It's not like only the medium is taken care of, but the content can be however it is. The content cannot be raw. The content also needs to be Samskrita. So this is the beauty of Ramayana. Why to choose Ramayana? To understand what is its context in Iswara to Swara, as well as what can Ramayana, our understanding of Ramayana, can contribute to Gudiya Sambrama. It is a Devalaya. We are celebrating Devalaya. The word Sambrama is again a Kannada word. It is Rudha, or it has become famous in a certain meaning of celebration. The Sanskrit equivalent, the Sanskrit equivalent of that is Utsava. Utsute iti Utsavaha. There should be an elevation. Ut means elevation. Anything that takes us to an elevated status shall be called as Utsavaha. So basically it is Devotsavaha or Devalayotsavaha, or necessarily the Utsava that is done in Devalaya can be called, can be termed, can be understood as Gudiya Sambhrama. And of course, it is in Kannada, but we refined it. We understood that in the refined language, that is Samskrita, we understood that Devalaya is very important. And when it comes to Devalaya, we do visit Devalaya, most of us, but that habit is gone. It's absolutely almost on the verge of extinct. And how do we revive that? By spending time in Devalaya. And even if we have to choose Devalayas, I'm not going to use the word temple anymore. I'm going to use the word Devalaya so that it becomes familiar to our ears. And it shouldn't feel odd when we start using the Bharatiya terminologies, Bharatiya Shabdas in our conversation. We don't have to hold back, oh, I'm speaking in English, so I should preferably use English words. Not necessarily. English itself is like, a very poor language, if I can say so. They have borrowed so many words from so many other languages, so many other source languages. So there is no harm in using Bharatiya Shabdas in the conversation. Okay, as much as possible, we use Bharatiya Shabdas when only to communicate, because it is applicable to everyone. Everyone can understand. So we use English. Now, Devalaya and Utsava. If Utsava is the benefit, if Utsava is the end product, and Devalaya happens to be the Adhikaranam, is the space where this Utsava happens, then what will elevate us to that Utsava level? What makes us reach Utsava in Devalaya? Three components. Let me break this. There are three components in this word: Deva, Alaya, Utsava. Okay. In this, we can understand the what, why, how. All these things can be understood within these three words only. So it is necessarily happening in an Alaya. The word Alaya itself gives us this idea that it is well thought for dissolving oneself, for attaining that Laya. It is asamantat, it is well thought. It is built in such a way, it is the construction of that Devalaya itself is in such a way that it will allow us to explore the means to attain that Laya. What is this Laya? I know, it's a little far away from Ramayana as of now, but it's okay. We'll slowly come there. How Ramayana will help us to connect all these dots. Stay with me for a few more minutes so that we build a perfect platform. Next time we say Gudiya Sambhrama, I'm associated with Gudiya Sambhrama, we should feel that connect with Devalaya. And nowhere, not even in our communication, the word should go or the word should become as temple. Where is Gudiya Sambhrama next time happening? Banshankari temple. No, definitely not. It should be Devalaya. And just to install that word, sometimes you have to clear some space. That's what I'm doing. Memory full. So I'm deleting some unwanted files from the mind so that we get ample space to install this software. All right. Now, Deva Alaya Darshana. It is Alaya. It shows the essence of that word, the strength of that word, the Shakti of that Shabda tells us, it shows us that it has what it takes to elevate someone to Laya. When we say Utsava, Utsava is basically a sort of Laya that needs to happen. If we want to be elevated, then we have to cut loose of all the connections that we have here. You see that hot balloon. If one sits on that, if one mounts onto that hot balloon, it will be tied to some, a rope will be tied to some places, no? Until and unless those ropes are cut, it won't fly high. It's as simple as that. So similarly, when we enter Devalaya, when we enter that Alaya, just like entering into a hot balloon, there should be a way of cutting our communication with the fixated places. We have fixated ourselves in 100 places. The reason why we should visit Devalaya on a daily basis, regularly, Nitya. Visiting Devalaya is a Nitya karma. When we do it on a daily basis, when it is done regularly, what will happen is we will get a training of how to get rid of all the unnecessary associations that we have already established. There should be a habit, because it might be, someone may argue that I need those kind of associations. Otherwise, how will I survive? For my food, for my survival, I need these associations. Please do continue having these associations. However, these sambandhas should not become a hurdle in attaining that utsava. Kalidasa very beautifully mentions this. Utsava priyah khalu manavaha. He mentions this word. Manavaha, the human beings, are generally utsava priyaha. They like that utsava. Everyone likes utsava. No, our understanding of utsava has changed now. Utsava means procession for some people. Utsava means Valle Charpu, good prasadam. Okay, that has become our idea of Utsava. No. That has to change. It's a natural tendency for human beings to enjoy that elevation. An elevated phase where we are cut from various associations. The idea of human existence is not to enhance communications or associations. The idea is to cut or cut as much as possible the associations. Jivanasya saundaryam. The saundarya of jivana does not exist in the establishment of associations, but in the disassociation from the establishments. Okay, it's one iconic line. Yeah. I have to make it copyrighted. Just kidding. Okay, but that is the basic idea. That's why it is called as utsava. A sort of that elevation should happen, and that happens in an alaya. It can happen anywhere as well. It's not like mandatory. It's not mandatory that it should happen only in an alaya, but alaya has got all the attributes, all the gunas, all that is necessary is present in alaya. We haven't explored our devalayas. If we start exploring each and every component of devalayas, then we will come to understand how brilliant our rishis were. So intricately, they have put each and every element in very specific position. That needs to be explored for the attainment of utsava, that is higher elevation. Okay. Now we have understood two concepts. Alaya, that is the place where it happens. Utsava, the elevation that brings joy, that brings bliss, that brings ananda, which is the ultimate thing that all of us are seeking. Contentment, in other words, tripti. At the end of the day, that is what we are all seeking. Tripti, nimmadi, tripti. These are the things that we are searching. The best word for that is found in Upanishads is ananda. So ananda is the end product. That is what we are trying. And we are trying it. The space is also, where is also specified. What is also specified. The only question remaining is how. How Devalaya can become Utsava. Or what is the process involved here? Very simple. This is where the word darshana makes an entry. Okay. It is like a hidden gem. Until and unless there is darshana of Deva, there is no way that it can lead us to Utsava. So truly, if it has to become Utsava, only then it will be successful. It will be considered as successful. So if it has to become Utsava, then it has to happen in Alaya, and it has to happen along with or through the process of Devata Darshana or Deva Darshana. Without Deva Darshana in Alaya, there is no Utsava. Now that gives you the full meaning of Devalaya Utsava. You combine it, Devalayotsava. Gudiya Sambhrama, I just Sanskritized it, that's all. I haven't changed anything. I kept the exact same thing, just Sanskritized it, that's all. Devalayotsava. Now you say you can explore so many meanings hidden. It's not like in Kannada, we cannot explore these meanings. We absolutely can. Without the help of Samskrita, no, we cannot. That's the power of Samskrita, soft power, I say. Silently have the power. Samskrita holds that kind of silent power for all the Bharatiya Bhashas. All right. So I hope you got the the sequence. Deva Darshana in Alaya leads to Utsava. That is Devalayotsava. Now, if this needs to happen, then as I mentioned, the Alaya, because of its vastness, Dairghya, and because it has been a center for so many things, we cannot probably in one go, we cannot explore all the elements associated with Alaya, that is Devalaya. It's impossible to explore all the elements in one go or simultaneously. It's not possible. This is the reason why Pratidinam Devalaya should be visited. Kulashekara Alvar, Jihve Irtaya Keshavam. He said, our Indriyas should be given a specific job. They are jobless, basically. That's why we speak so much. We speak so much nonsense is what I meant. I did not want to say that, but you have to fill up the blanks sometimes. And similarly, for each and every organ, he specifies a certain job. Jihve Keshavam Kirtaya. So when it comes to Angri Yugma, Angri means pada, that is charana, feet. Yugma means two. So Angri Yugma, the 2 feet that we have. He mentions that Hare Alayam Gacha. So simple. Harehe Alayam. Hari is Deva, any Deva. Oh, it has said only Hari Alayam we should go. We should not visit Haralayam. No, that doesn't mean in that way. It's just an upalakshana. It is just a way of promoting it. Basically, Devalayam Gacha is what he means. Every day, without miss, we have to visit Devalayam. It has to become a part of our routine. And the week-long, a fortnight-long utsava that happens is to highlight this, is to give a platform for all of us to inculcate this intricate habit. It should become raktagatam, asthigatam. It should become a part of our DNA. Visiting Devalaya on a daily basis should become a part of our DNA. And then things will change. Until then, it won't. Okay, with this motive, we have to visit. There is no ifs and buts. We have to visit means we have to visit. Okay. Now, Iswara to Swara. What is the connection with Devalayotsava to Iswara to Swara? Now, if we establish this, then it will be easier for me to establish what role does Ramayana play in all of this. Probably that will take up today's session. Just to give you a glimpse of why we are taking up Ramayana. I haven't answered yet. Question is still there. First, we need to understand what are we getting ourselves into? What are we signing up ourselves for? It is Devalayotsava. We are participating in an Utsava. For what purpose? For Utsava. Where are we participating? In Alaya. In which Alaya? In Devalaya. How are we going to participate in Devalaya for Utsava? Through Darshana. Not to forget that. Keywords, just to remember keywords. Deva, Darshana, Devalaya, Utsava is equal to Devalayotsava. That's it. Formula. Now, what is the role of the theme? Ishvara to Swara. Why Ishvara? Why Swara? And what is the connection that we can find in Devalaya? And if we understand this, then each and every action that we take, every single thought that crosses our mind in the due process of preparation to execution will be more meaningful, will be more thoughtful. It will not be disconnected. It will not be like, I am assigned some task. I'm only going to do that much of task. The rest of the things, I don't care. It's not my job. That should not be the approach. That should not be the attitude. Our attitude is that we are there for both, Atmodhara as well as Lokopakara. I wouldn't say Lokodhara, Lokopakara. We are helping the people to see the light. Only those who are helped can help others. हमको खुद पता नहीं है कि हम देवालय क्यों जा रहे हैं, हम मंदिर क्यों जाते हैं. If I myself don't know why I have to visit Devalaya, and why and how will I be able to educate others? How will I be able to, set an example for others? And setting an example is also important. Yadyadacharati shresthaha tattadeva itaro jana. Whatever the great people do, those who occupy a certain position in the society, whatever they do, that is what is followed by the rest of the people. Oh, I don't have that kind of, I don't command that kind of position in society. You do command such kind of a position in your home. There are always people who will be looking up to you. So at least for them, we have to set an example. And how do we set an example? By having Deva Darshana in Devalaya, so that we can attain that Utsava, that Ananda. That is the end result. Now, what is Ishvara? What is the connection between Ishvara and Swara? And how are we going to explore that Ishvara and Swara in a Devalaya? So that is going to be our Darshana. Our Darshana for this year, not just this year, any year, that for that matter of fact. When we visit Devalaya, what is the purpose of choosing a theme, you tell me? For every year, what is the purpose of choosing a theme? Because that theme exists in Devalaya. There is room for Ishvara in Devalaya. Of course, fortunately enough, we haven't asked this question. We have fought a long legal battle. We know, we have fought a long legal battle just to get the place. That was against those who don't believe in idol worshipping. They were, I say that they were rather an easy opposition to fight with. Because there are some crazy people amongst ourselves. We can talk, no, this is something that we have to address. And amongst ourselves, we have some people who say that there are some pakka seculars. They will come up with an idea one day, long after I and you are gone, when it is left with the next generation to handle. The next generation is not well equipped. They don't know how to handle this. What if someone comes, a smart fellow, he comes and asks this question: why this particular place should hold only the Murti of Rama? There should be equal space for Ravana as well. That day is not far. There are already so many Ravana sympathizers, You hand me a gun, I would like to shoot all rounds to one person. Each and every one of them. There are many people who are Ravana sympathizers. One fine day, this sympathy, which will be passed on as a legacy to the next generation, will take its shape and form. It scares us. What if one day someone will ask that why not construct a Ravana temple or a Ravana Alaya in Ayodhya? And that day is not far, because the place where I live is already experiencing that. Why in Dasara only Chamundeshwari should be celebrated? Why it is only Chamundeshwari Utsava? Why not Mahisha Dasara? The day is not far. I'm not joking. It may sound like this is alarm. If we don't wake up now, that day is not far when people will ask for a Kamsa Devalaya in Mathura and Ravanalaya in Ayodhya. Before that happens, we need to install this software in every single child's brain, or those whose brain are still childish. Okay. Childish or childlike, sorry. Okay. Those whose brains are still childlike innocence and dumbness as well. Innocence comes with dumbness. Innocence masks dumbness, that's all. Children are basically dumb. We call them innocent. Innocence is masked, that's all. They don't know what to do. Do we know what to do? We don't. Unfortunately, we have lost that innocence now. So it's only as we grow up, we become dumber and dumber. Okay, so we have to ward that off. How are we going to do that? By understanding properly what is the theme. If we get to know what all themes exist in a Devalaya, then when we start visiting Devalaya on a daily basis, it will be easier for us to explore one amongst them. It is such a beautiful experience when we start exploring, when we start experiencing these themes by ourselves. That is the aim. Then every day will be Devalayotsavam. That should happen. They say, no, when they in that Srinivasa Gadyam, they say Nityotsava, Masotsava, Pakshotsava. What is Nityotsava? In Devalaya, there is Nityotsava. Why is it called as Nityotsava? Because each day it is very important, because it has the ability to elevate us to that Ananda. And we have to find out that. All right. Now, Iswara is a generic term. That's the first thing that I wanted to say, because we don't want any inner conflicts going on. Hari versus Hara debate. What nonsense is that? No difference. That's why the word is Iswara. Iswara is very much a darshanika word. It is a word taken directly from the Upanishads. And they don't make any such classifications or any differentiations between Ishvara, between Hari and Hara. Everything is one for them. That is Ishvara. What are we supposed to see in Devalaya is Ishvara. Who is Ishvara? And where is he? Bhagavad Gita for you. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddeshe Arjuna tishtati. That's what Krishna said in Gita. Arjuna, sarvabhutanam, not just you and me and some selected people, those who have registered, only in them there is Ishvara. Those who haven't registered, there is no Ishvara. No. Sarvabhutanam, in all creatures, whether they move or they don't move, it doesn't matter. We don't classify things as living and non-living. It is ridiculous. We classify things as Sthavara and Jangama. Sthavara, that which doesn't move, stays in one place. Jangama, that which keeps on moving. Whether it is Sthavara or Jangama, it doesn't matter. Sarvabhutanam, in all the creatures, Hriddeshe, there is some place called as Hridaya, the heart, Hridaya Desha. In that Hridaya, Ishvaraha. Tishtati. Tishtati means he stays, firmly stays. And he's not going to move. He's not going to vacate that place. मेरे दिल में किसी दूसरे के लिए जगह नहीं है. Slap that fellow. तुम्हारे सिवा मेरे दिल में किसी दूसरे के लिए जगह नहीं. No, we have to find these poets and hang them. I'll tell you, they have ruined the complete idea. They've taken the Upanishadic idea and they killed it. They clinically removed it and put all this nonsense stuff into people's mind. You read through the Samskrita literature, you will never find some nonsensical literature like this, where the hero, the Nayaka, is confessing to Nayika that Nayika mama hridaye tishtati. Anyah kopi na tishtati. There is nobody else. There is no space for someone else. Nonsense is that. Only thing that can occupy this place is Ishvara. He is already occupied. There is no vacancy there. So we already have Ishvara here. So connection from point A to point B. So the input is already here. You have to just drag this and connect it with the output. Oh, this is fantastic. I myself am surprised with this example. Oh, this is really good. See, the input is already here. You just have to drag a wire and connect it to the output. The output is that Devalaya, that Murti, because there is a Murti Vijnanam. They did not construct according to their imagination. It is not some kalpana. It's not like they thought they had nothing else to do. So they simply started carving and it turned out to be a deity. It turned out to be, Vishnu or Narayana or Venkateshwara. It's not like that. There is a darshana behind it. All the great sculptors, they used to meditate. Dhyana magna, that was part of their routine. Because if they cannot experience the Bhagavan, if they cannot experience the Devata in their heart, how can they sculpt it? So if it is true for sculpture, it is true for painters, it is true for musicians, it is true for all types of artists. If there is no input, you cannot give output. If I don't have rasa here, I cannot bring rasa out there, whether it is with words or colors or with costumes or with light or with music or with any other form or with stone. Doesn't matter. Rasa should be here. The experience should be here. The ananda should be here. Only this can reflect there. That is why Iswara is here, and I am seeing that Iswara in that Murti, in that Devata Murti. And when that happens, there should be a medium. What carries this Iswara and connects with that Murti? Swara. That is the theme. Iswara to Swara. The word to here in English must be understood as through. Ishvara through Swara. And why have we used the word to then? It's good. Nothing wrong with that, because it's a two-way. What goes outside, it also comes back. So every time I see, no, I witness. Two different words, no? That's how I started. Without even doing the Mangalacharanam, I started. I know. Sometimes, it's not needed. They say there are three types of Mangala. Ashihi, Namaskriya. Ashihi is like, it's not meant for us. Like, when some great sadhu or great sadhakas, like the ones of Arunachaleshwara, Ramana Maharshi, the likes of Ramana Maharshi, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and these people have to address. They don't have to do anything. They can just begin. And their words is Ashirvada for us. So that is also considered as Mangala. And then the second way of Mangala is very popular for all of us, Namaskriya. Namaskriya means Namaskaratmakam Mangala. Namaskaratmaka Mangala we have done. We started with Namaskaratmaka Mangala. Namaste Sharade Devi. Saraswati Namastubhyam. We started with Saraswati Namastubhyam. That's the one that actually stuck with me. There were many other Mangala Padyas, but this was the one that actually stuck with me. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. So we have done that. There is a third way of Mangala as well. That is called as Vastu Nirdesha. Vastu is the content, itivritta. Whatever we are going to discuss, whatever is the content for us, that is called as Vastu. And if we can highlight, if we can reflect, if we can indicate that Vastu, then indication of the content itself is considered as auspicious. So Vastu Nirdesha itself can bring Mangala. So that we have done. We have understood why and what of Gudiya Sambrama, the Sanskritized version, the Samskriti Karanam, the refinement, Devalayotsava, Deva Darshana, Devalaya, Utsava, Ananda. We have understood that. Now Ishvara through Swara. Now, the Ishvara to Swara, the reason why there is two is because it is a two-way thing. So not only from this Ishvara, the Swara emerges and leads us towards the Ishvara present in that Garbhagriha, but it also resonates from there. The Swara that is emerging in that Garbhagriha, because there is a certain vastu behind it, there is a certain structure behind it. And in that particular structure only, or in that particular aya and all these things, only the Garbhagriha has to be constructed. My guru used to say that the Garbhagriha is called as Garbhagriha with a very close connection to Matrugarbha. See, it is in the mother's womb that every jiva hears that Pranavanada, isn't it? There is no denying this fact. All of us have experienced that Pranavanada. We remember, but our memory has faded away. But we have experienced that. That Pranavanada is heard in Matrugarbha. And in that Matrugarbha, it's a very confined space. There is no room for so many other things. Now, when we observe all these things in a Devalaya, when we see the Bhagavan, when we see the Murti there in the Garbhagriha, not in that LED light, flashlight, focus light, in that deeper. There is a reason why the darshana should happen in the deeper. Because it is a resemblance. It is like presenting the same thing in two different forms. Here we are presenting to you Venkateshwara Murti in the idol form, in the Murti form. And just uske bagal mein, just close to that, we are also presenting Venkateshwara in that deepa, in that jyoti. Until and unless there is a pratika, there is an example left there, there is a chinna, there is a lakshana present there, and we won't be able to connect. See, this is a very common example that I usually give. Kanyakumari, very famous Devalaya, down south. Most of us have visited Kanyakumari. We visit Kanyakumari, we see the Murti, we have the darshana, come back. Immediately there will be one person who had already visited Kanyakumari, who has taken you there. In a group of 10-15 people, there will be one person who has already visited Kanyakumari. As soon as you come back from having the darshana, they will be there to ask you this question, feedback question. And what will be there in that feedback question is, did you observe that nose ring? Right? Am I joking? No, this is the question, the general question. That what were we supposed to see? And what is the question that we are being asked? We were supposed to see that Jyoti. And instead of Jyoti, we saw only the work of, not even the work, the shine of that particular nose ring, an ornament. I'm not demeaning the ornament. I'm not demeaning the artist's work, the person who has created that. But we don't know the intricacies of that one either. How do we remember that nose ring? Is also because it was flashy. That's why we remember it. But if we inquire ourselves about further details, there is no further details to share. That shouldn't happen to us. So that Devata Murti should be seen, that Devata Murti Darshana should happen in such a way that, like it should be like a carbon copy, like utarna, nakal utarna, as they say in Hindi. Like hubahu, as it is, it should fall here. That image should be constructed here. We should capture the image of that Devata Murti in such a way that it becomes like cemented here. And when it is cemented here, then it gets the energy to move. And if we have the darshana here, then it will resonate there. And when we see that there, what is the element that we are seeing there? Either you can see it through Jyoti or through Swara. So when that Pranavanada happens, where does Pranavanada happen in Garbhagriha? We haven't heard any Pranavanada there. We hear Ghantanada. Ghantanada, when we hear inside that Garbhagriha, that should resonate. That should give us that idea that, oh, this is the beginning of all the swaras. It is from this sound, it is from this nada that all the swaras have emerged. That is the way of understanding from there to here. From here to there, how will we understand? And of course, there to here to there, if you hear only the recording without turning on the video, we wouldn't know. How did I mention here to there and there to here? From us to Bhagavan, to that Bhagavan Murti, the swaras act as a stepping stone. Each and every swara will act as a stepping stone towards reaching that Paramatma, to that Parameshwara. And when it comes, we will understand what is the destination, what is the target that we have attained to. The Paramalaksham, what is that Paramalaksham that we have attained by speaking or by enacting, by showing these swaras. By showing these swaras, we have reached that Nanda. And what is that Nada? Here, you see the difference. I'll tell you what is the difference between the output and input. In output, there is a friction involved. There is an ahata involved. It is all the sounds that we make is caused by ahata, by the collision of two elements. The wind has to collide with certain places, only then the sound emerges. Basic physics. Okay. But what are we trying to understand here is how it actually resonates to us, how it is to be understood by us, how it has to be contemplated by us. It's very simple, comprehended by us. It's very simple. The nada that we hear there is anahata. The journey from ahata to anahata is Ishvara is Swara to Ishvara. The evolution of nada from anahata to ahata is Ishvara to Swara. That's all. Swara is ahata. See, if we take a string instrument, maybe veena, there will be swarasthanams, no? They will hold some particular place, and then they do some thing with their fingers, explaining it in a very crude way. But of course, that's how we understand as well. But that swarasthanam can bring out that swara. There is an ahata going on here. There is a collision that is happening. My fingers touching those strings. There's a collision. Then there is. But what about the pranavanada that comes? There's no collision at all. It is naturally emerging. Sahaja. That is why it is called as sahaja. It is always there. It is sanatana. It is sadatana. It is sanatana. And it is sahaja. And the journey that we take from this swara, that is ahata to anahata, is what we are trying to achieve when we go visit a devalaya. And this can happen only in a devalaya. No ifs and buts. I know I can say, I can add few more clauses there, saying that it's not only devalaya. I have stopped saying that. You know what it makes people? They take devalaya for granted. It's okay even if we don't go to devalaya. And this very thought gives rise to the fancy statements that I am spiritual, not religious. Whatever the hell it means. What they actually mean is, I do my sadhana at my own comfort. I don't appreciate visiting devalaya. आप भी जाओगे, आपके बाप भी जाएंगे, हमारे परदादा भी गए हैं, हम भी जाएंगे, कल के बच्चे भी जाएंगे. Sometimes you have to force them. Sometimes you have to beat them in order to ensure that they visit devalaya. A little bit of force is never out of fashion. Therefore, it is important. It should be kept in our mind that if we don't visit devalaya, no food for us. It should reach that point where we become so akin to devalaya. We hear so many stories about Kanakadasa, right? Those things sound fancy only in stories, isn't it? Kanakanakindi in Udupi. The amount of effort that one fellow put in order to have the Deva Darshana, the Krishna Darshana. We celebrate it, we highlight it, we narrate that story. We take so many other unnecessary, unwanted things away from it, What was the social status? What will you do with social status of that era? Can you not see the effort that this fellow was putting in order to have Deva Darshana? Wo lalak kahan hai? Where is that intensity in us? Do I have that intensity that Kanaka had? I don't. But I can speak about all the social imbalance, political imbalance, power imbalance. What will we do with all these nonsense things? That's not the point to take away from Kanakadasa. The point to take from Kanakadasa is the kind of, the appetite he had for Deva Darshana. Do we have that kind of appetite? Prahlada had that appetite. He did not just have that appetite, he had that confirmation. That is what Bhagavata says, Satyam vidhatum nijabhritya bhashitam. Nrasimha Avatara happened for two reasons. The second reason was to kill Hiranyakashipu. The first reason was to ensure that the Bhakta's words, Bhagavad Bhakta's Shabda, Bhagavad Bhakta's words are to be rendered true. If a Bhagavad Bhakta, if a Bhagavata speaks, it should not go wrong. That's why Prahlada occupies #1 position in the list of Bhagavatas, isn't it? Prahlada, Narada Parashara Pundarika. Not the other way around. Prahlada occupies that position because the kind of conviction, the kind of confirmation he had about Bhagavan was so strong that he made Bhagavan appear in Stambha. That should be our conviction. Rather than that, we have some funny stories about every pillar of the Devalaya. There will be some fancy statement, every pillar of this Devalaya tells us a story. Okay. The only story I personally am interested is, can I see that Narasimha like Prahlada did? Can I bring Narasimha from within? Where was Narasimha? Where was Bhagavan Vishnu for Prahlada? He was here, no? It was here. From here, he brought it out there in the Stambha. Can I bring Paramatma in that pillar? That's all that is important for us. Other than this, we have some nonsensical things. No. What is that? Kambame Tanni, isn't it? Pongale Prasadam, Rangane Daivam, Pongale Prasadam, Kambame Tanni. You see how we have ridiculed the pillar. The same Kamba, the same Stambha that brought Narasimha to Prahlada is now used to, or just photography. And not demeaning that we should not take photographs. Please don't mistake me. But every time I see that Kambha or that Stambha, what is the image? What is it that I am carrying home? What is the message that I am taking away when I see a Kambha? Because it doesn't remind me of Prahlada, the struggles of Prahlada. The way Narasimha Avirbhava happened, that should resonate with us. This is the reason why Devalaya should visit it, because this is not going to cement in one day, in one visit. It's not possible. It took us so many years to master a small art in our education. Through our education, it took us so many years to master one art, one simple art of addressing. How should we address some people? Are we that immature to think that one visit to Devalaya once in a year will be sufficient? It is not going to be sufficient. Not at all. So Iswara to Swara is a continuous journey. 24/7 journey. Open all the time. More frequent than Indigo flights. Bad joke. Yeah. But yes, it is. Okay. That frequency should increase. Okay. So that is what Iswara to Swara. Now, I have exactly 29 minutes on my clock. I will use around 15 minutes because I want to give some space for the questions as well. I promised you that I will tell you what is the role of Ramayana in all these things. Where is Ramayana here? We understood what is Devalaya Utsava, Deva Darshana, Alaya, Utsava, Ananda, Ishwara, Swara, Anahata to Ahata, Ahata to Anahata. These things are fine. I hope it has given you a framework at least to work for moving forward. Now, where does Ramayana fall? What is the role of Ramayana? Why choose Ramayana? Why not any other work? There are hundreds of works. There are so many beautiful works. Why choose Ramayana? Because Ramayana is not just Adi Kavya, which is only the words that are to be appreciated in Ramayana. But according to the Ramayana itself, I'm not going to quote from anywhere else, because if I quote from anywhere else, it would seem that all of this is exaggeration, the words of exaggeration from somebody else. No, the words are spoken in Ramayana itself. The Ramayana itself claims what it is. Param Kavinam Adharam. They said that Ramayana is the foundation, not just any foundation. Param Adharam. Paramadharam is what he means. The fundamental foundation, utmost foundation, first ever foundation, most important foundation, Paramadharam. Param Kavinam Adharam. And then Abhigitamidam Geetam Ramayana was, is, shall always remain a Gita. Idam Geetam Abhigitam. Idam Ramayanam Geetam Abhigitam is how Ramayana is describing itself. These are not the words of some poet some Kavi who has tried to highlight Ramayana. These are the words that Ramayana itself is describing, self-description. Bio of Ramayana. This is what is written in Ramayana's bio. Okay. Abhigitamidam Geetam Sarvageetishu Kovidau. Who sang that? Sarvageetishu Kovidau. Geeti is a way of singing. It's a song. It's a presentation. So the moment I say it is a song, isn't Swara there? The Swara is absolutely there, because without Swara, how can we sing? Because Ramayana is a Geeti, because Ramayana is a Gita, there is definitely Swara hidden in Ramayana. And it is not just the Ramayana's own claim. I'll give you a brief description because I'm supposed to talk about Ramayana mostly. 80% of the time I'll be talking about Ramayana, the remaining 20% giving you some connections so that you can connect with the theme, Iswara to Swara, just how to connect with it. Okay. Now see, this is how Ramayana evolved. We will discuss more on this in the upcoming sessions. There was one man, Valmiki was his name. Okay. And Valmiki was searching for something. What was he searching? Valmiki was searching for completeness, wholesomeness. Like how we all are seeking for completeness. That's all we seek. How can I make my life complete? When will I consider my life to be complete? Can I find a complete package? Like you cannot even find a single mistake in that person. I will answer all the questions that are already rising like flames in your mind. That see, even whatever it was, what Rama did to see, hold your horses. I am here to answer all of them. Okay. Let me put my argument that Rama is an epitome of perfection. There is no difference between perfection and Rama. Rama is perfection, perfection is Rama. All right. How that we will explore later. Now, Valmiki was in search of this, and whom should he ask? Where should he go? He should go to a library. Like if I'm seeking something, that is the first thing that I would do. It goes on to show that I'm still old school. The normal, the modern day kid would say that you should Google it, isn't it? Or nowadays they have gone even further. Ask AI, what is it? Chat GPT. Ask Chat GPT, what is perfection? Where can I find perfection? And you will get the results. Valmiki was way ahead of his time. He found one authentic source who is a Trikala Jnani. The libraries can have the knowledge of the past, just like how the Chat GPT and AI have. They can store only things that have already happened. They cannot store something that will happen in future, or that is which is going on currently at this moment. Until and unless it is fed to it, they don't know, right? But there is one person who knew all of this. That's why he is Trikalagnya. Tri means three, Kala means time, three frames of time. Bhuta, Vartamana, and Bhavishyat. Past, present, and future. Who was he? Narada. Okay. Another important thing that I want to share here is the word Narada. We have a very big, huge, wrong misconception about Narada. We think that Narada is someone who usually creates conflicts and fights between two people. That is his role to play. If you still have that kind of an image about Narada, please remove that image. It is not only outdated, but it is complete with virus. So we have to remove that. The true meaning of the word Narada is Naram Dadati iti Naradaha. Okay, this is the etymology of the word Narada. Naram Dadati iti Naradaha. What is Nara? Not Hindi Nara, slogan, not that one. Naram is Paramatma Jnanam. Dadati, Yachati, he gives. He who grants Paramatma Jnanam is Narada. Behind every successful man, there is a woman. Behind every great Rishi, there is a Narada. लिख के ले लो आप हमसे माने मतलब from me, you can take it in written. Behind every great Bhagavata, there is Narada. You show me one Bhagavata who did not have any sort of connection with Narada. Starting from Prahlada, forget Prahlada, Dhruva. How did Dhruva end up becoming Dhruva? If not for Narada's Upadesha. There would have been no Ramayana if it was not for the conversation that happened between Valmiki and Narada. That is the role of Narada. That's why behind every successful thing, every successful Atmajnani, every successful Jivan Mukta, there is Narada, including the Tyaga Brahma. And let me not forget, we are talking about Swara, isn't it? You may think that I have forgotten. Not a chance. The great Tyaga Brahma considers Narada as his guru, isn't it? Tyaga Brahma is Tyagaraja Swami. Who was his guru? Narada. Without Narada, where is Paramatma Jnana? And that Narada has appeared flesh and bones in front of Valmiki. What a great sight to behold. And then, without even exchanging compliments, how are you? Are you doing well? How's the weather? Nothing. None of these nonsense. It directly gets to the question. Kon vasmin sampratam loke? Maharshe, oh Narada, I want to know who in this particular era, in this time frame, in this time zone, possesses these further listed qualities, these further listed attributes. Gunavan, Viryavan, thus begins the description. The question is so elegant. The answer is magnificent. The answer is the Ramayana Katha. The question are the 16 attributes. Shodasha Gunaha. How much does it take to make someone perfect? Tell them the number. It is tangible. It is quantifiable. 16. That's all. 16 attributes. He asked, Gunavan, Viryavan. We are going to discuss in detail about each and every one. Don't worry. This is not like, this is not how I'm going to begin. I'm just going to give that connection to Iswara and Swara and conclude it for today. So he understood he heard the story, the katha from Narada. And Narada, he went away and he was still immersed. Valmiki was still encapsulated by the narration of that story. And he went to do his madhyamnikam. Anhika means the things that we have to do on every day. Daily routine is called as anhika. Anhi kriyate iti athva ahani kriyate iti anhikam. The thing that is done every single day is called as anhika. In Hale Mysore region, in this region of Karnataka, some good old words that are fading away, even in our local bhasha, in our Matra bhasha, local tongue is Anhika was one such word that existed in Kannada. They would say this, Nityanhikagalannu mugisi. They would say Nityanhika. And then it slowly became Nitya Karma. Now there is no Nitya, there is no Karma. Okay, anyway, so Narada, after Narada gone away. So then Valmiki went to a nearby lake. It was called as Tamasa. They went there. He wanted to take a dip there, but he was still immersed in that story. He couldn't get himself out of that Ramakatha. That is the power of Ramakatha, you see. He was so engrossed in it. Now, he saw the two birds. You know the story, or we are going to explore that story later on. Now, the shloka came out without him expecting that it will come out. And immediately he asked, he was in this question mode, that he started questioning, why did this come from me? Padabadho aksharasamah tantrilaya samanvitaha. Okay. Shokartasya pravritto me shloko bhavatu nanyatha. This is the padya that I wanted to highlight. The words that came out of Valmiki's mouth, which we will discuss later on. Manishada pratishthanto magamash sama. Yat krauncha mithunat ekam avadhih kamamohidam. Do not look at the meaning of that shloka. Look at the way it is pada baddha. That's what Valmiki is describing himself. He was surprised. He was telling to his shishya, Bharadwaja, can you not observe how beautifully it has been articulated? Oh, he was self-citation. Researchers, Maharoga is self-citation. If you are into research, you would know. Some people, some journals will prohibit you from self-citing. So it is not self-citation. He is not self-quoting himself, saying that, did you observe that how it is pada baddha, perfectly fitting into one pada? There are 4 padas, chatushpad, okay, 4 padas, pada baddha, and then akshara samaha. Interestingly, each and every pada, there are 4 padas, and each and every one of them have got equal number of letters. Akshara samaha. Akshara means letters, varanas. Samaha means they are equal. 8, 8, 8, and 8, making it 32. Which is, by the way, the multiplication of 16. If you multiply 16 by 2, then it gives us 32, isn't it? I hope my maths is not poor. 16 into 2 is 32, right? So I mentioned 16 is the key. The word, the number is very key. There is a huge number game involved in Ramayana as well. Because if we are going to talk about Swara, we definitely have to talk about numbers as well. Swara is numerical. The Swaras are numerical. If we are going to connect it there, then we have to connect it here as well. Pada baddho akshara samaha. The second quality that exists throughout Ramayana is the first quality, the first criteria is that Padabadha, it is in 4 padas. The second one is Akshara Samaha. Not even Bhagavata can claim about itself in this manner. Why not? Because Bhagavata has got some Gadyas involved in it. In some skandha, like 4th and 5th skandha, you will find in Bhagavatam long proses. So it is not Padabadha. Prose does not have any pada. Ramayana has. Throughout 24,000 shlokas. So 24,000 into 4. Calculate. Okay. 24,000 shlokas are all padabadha, organized. Akshara samaha. They have equal aksharas. Samana aksharas. The count of aksharas is samana. And then the last criteria or the last characteristic that I want to highlight that Ramayana itself has done is Tantri Laya Samanvitaha. Tantri is something that we call for string instruments. Okay. A string instrument is called as Tantri. Laya is a rhythm. Tantri Laya Samanvitaha. The whole of Ramayana is Tantri Laya Samanvitaha. It is musical by nature, by structure, it is musical. So when they said Tantri Laya Samanvitaha, it is needless to say that Ramayana has a deep connection with Swaras. So through that Swara, how are we going to explore Iswara is what we are going to explore from here onwards. So that gives you the broader perspective of what, why, and how of this entire series. I hope Ayam Arambha Shubhaya Bhavatu. May this beginning be for the best for all of us. So we saw how Devalaya and Utsava and what is the purpose of Devalaya Utsava, and then how the connection, why this theme of Ishvara to Swara, and from there onwards, what is the role that Ramayana plays in this particular aspect. Because Ramayana is basically musical, whether we like it or not. Whether we still have that parampara or not, it doesn't matter. Ramayana is musical. Tantri Laya Samanvitaha. It's a characteristic that Ramayana possesses. Therefore, we are going to explore this Tantri Laya Samanvaya that has happened in Ramayana, so that next time we visit Ayodhya, rather than simply being mesmerized with the wonder, the sacrifices, and all those things. I'm not saying that we should forget that. No one should forget that. But at that moment, when we are actually witnessing, the word is witness, sakshatkara. Ever since that movies in the 70s, the word has become kind of haunted to be used in this circle. Nobody wants to use the word sakshatkara anymore. Because the moment you use that sakshatkara, that PBS voice comes in. Valave Jeevana Sakshatkara. No. Valavu is not Jeevana Sakshatkara. Paramatma is Jeevana Sakshatkara, okay? Only Paramatma is Jeevana Sakshatkara. Okay, all right. So that is the whole thing. Now, okay, fine. We can conclude it here for today. But from next talks onwards, we will try to explore more and more about how the story of Ramayana is also has got some swaras inserted in it. What is the Shadja part of Ramayana? What is the Panchama part of Ramayana? Also, 7 kandas are there, no? Saptaswara. Connection in Ramayana, I tell you, Ramayana is the KGF. Okay. Ramayana is the KGF. And this KGF has produced one gold. It is Kalidasa. you want to produce more gold, if you want to dig deep and find more gold, you need to preserve the KGF. The KGF is Ramayana, which we are going to dig and explore in the upcoming sessions. Thank you very much. I hope I have made some inroads into your minds about the whole structure. If there are any questions, we have 9 minutes. Sorry, I've taken just 1 minute extra for question answers. No questions. Fantastic. Nobody has raised their hand. Oh, please, Rashida, please.
Namaste, Guhaji. Thank you for such a wonderful session. There was only one reflective point. I'm not sure if I'm thinking along the right line, so I just wanted to bounce it off with you. Anandavardhana in his Dvanyaloka, he talks of, when we are talking of the rasa theory, we have this concept of rasa, dvani, and auchitya. Dvani is a suggestive indication, and dvani can also mean a sound. So when we're talking of swara, can we also look at dhvani secondary to swara? Because whenever you were talking of the deepa in the garbhagriha and all of that, nanaga dhvani tara kanistittu. So there is a suggestive meaning to it. And it is also symbolic that you have dhvani and swara that comes along together. So can we look at an interpretation this way as well?
Yeah, it's a very noble effort to see.
Sorry.
No.
Uddatatana adre, I'm very sorry.
No, it's not Uddatatana, not at all. It's a very good effort in order to see how to identify or how to match dhvani and swara. It's a commendable effort. However, the overall meaning that has been presented by Anandavardhana in Dhvanyaloka is not in this manner at all.
Mm-hmm.
He considers dhvani to be the pinnacle of Sahitya. For him, Rasad dhvani is one of the dhvani. For him, the very process of dhvananam, dhvanana there refers to that expression, not just suggestion, but expression. It actually drags you and puts you there in that spot. It leads you to that immeasurable point. That is what dhvani he actually means. However, the word dhvani has got various meanings in various stages. So in the stage of dhvani being a sound, and how we can understand, the example that you gave is definitely a dhvani. That it's a contrast kind of image, form to formless. Jyoti is basically formless. So this is formless form and this is form, if we can say so. So in that manner, yes, there is a certain level of dhvani. But again, the very expression or the very experience of that Paramatma or Atma or Parameshvara that we are talking about is also dhvani.
Right.
That is also dhvani. But yeah, that's a very good effort. That's how it is. There is a deep connection with the dhvani. That's why we see that most of the words that we speak, most of the sahitya that we have, is all filled with dhvani. So even the Vagyakaras, when they actually compose a certain kriti and when they are singing, they don't actually mean in abhideya. They don't actually mean in primary meaning. If rendering the primary meaning was their goal, then they could have done it in the prose form. No? There is a reason why they have opted for a certain lyrical meter, because it resonates, it brings that dhvani, that there is a rhythm, there is a swara added to that. And swara is that platform that acts as a staircase. Swaras are meant as staircase. So when we present anything through swaras, it's like we are building them a ramp, we are building them a staircase so that they can easily climb up to experience that bliss, that elevation, that utsava happens naturally when there is swara involved. Oh my God, okay. Yeah. Sometimes I myself am surprised how it connects. So, but you see the point, right? So the swara always gives that platform. It creates those platforms, and that naturally elevates us to that level. So yes, there is definitely Swara involved in all these things.
Thank you.
For now, we want to end the session.
Can I ask a question? Go ahead.
Yes, please, please.
You mentioned that we should look at Sanskritam as both a medium of language as well as in terms of content. So, how do we look at it in terms of content?
It's a good question.
In a musical way.
It's a very good question. See, if there is no room for that abhyasa in terms of swaras, especially in terms of sangeeta or music, if there is no practice, there is no abhyasa involved, then there is no proper understanding, comprehension of the content. The simple question is, how do we refine? Samskrita means refinement. The process of refining is called as Samskrita. Now, how do we refine content? The content is refined only upon abhyasa. I'll give you a famous proverb, it's a famous proverb or a famous story that is usually used in Banaras. During my stay at Banaras, and my supervisor used to say this quite a lot of times. तीन चीज ऐसे हैं, I'll say it in Hindi and then I'll translate it. तीन चीज ऐसे हैं जिनको आप पलटेंगे नहीं तो वो चले जाएंगे. So the first one is pan ka patta. Now, Banaras is famous for pan, isn't it? So they know how to maintain that pan ka patta. You have to pour water to maintain its freshness. Okay. But if we pour water on betel leaves and if we keep it like that, what will happen eventually is and they will go waste. Okay. So there is a trick behind it. They keep on shifting them, moving like this. Palatte rehte. Okay. The second one is ghoda, horse. If you tie the horse in one place for one day, the horse will go mad. The horse cannot be tied for more than a day. It wants to roam around. So you need to shift it around. Okay. And third one is pustak. जब तक उसको पलटेंगे नहीं, then it won't be refined. So the idea of refining the content is practice, repetition. So when we keep on repeating the same thing, like that abhyasa should be there for a sangeetakara, for a musician, he should keep on practicing it. So when they keep practicing it, automatically the swarasthanams become more clearer to them. They become more accessible to them. The deeper meaning, the hidden meaning, the heart of Vagyayakara is only through swaras. So, and those swaras needs to be practiced over and again. So that is why it is the way to refine content in a musical way is to practice abhyasa. That refines it. Not just in Sangeeta, in any Shastra, in any discipline, it is true.
Thank you so much to Dr. Vishwanath Guha for this wonderful inaugural session of our series on Iswara to Swara, which is the theme of next year's Gudiya Sambrama Temple Festival, but will also be the main focus of our series for this remaining year. Today, I was just thinking, somebody listening to a podcast and they were saying that all of us have prarabdhas and we are so obsessed with prarabdhas. But we forget that even Prahlada had prarabdha. He was born in the family of a Rakshasa. So by listening to great people like Vishwanath ji and to listening to the story of Rama, Sri Rama again and again, visiting Devalayas, being part of a very beautiful festival. I think all of us can overcome our prarabdhas. So there is nothing, I think as a Jyotisha, you will agree, Vishwanath ji, that prarabdha is only a template, which if Prahlada could come out of it, if Meera could come out of it, if Tulsidas or Tyagaraja Swami, all of them had very difficult lives. So we should probably welcome difficulty if we are to realize the divine. Thank you so much to Indic Academy for supporting this series. And we hope that all of you will come back next week, same time, every Tuesday, to continue our exploration of this theme. Thank you and good night.